All right, guys, welcome to Monday, where we go through a free trade of the week from the things that have been delivered over to the people at StatsEdgeTrading. I'm actually recording today before the open because we're getting a gap down. So a lot of the things that we look for are gap down type plays. So we're looking for things that are, maybe selling off a bit, maybe pushing a little bit lower. And so I know that a couple of these are going to trigger. So I'm going to give you just a couple that look okay. We'll do two here for sure, and just talk about potentially how we are going to play with them, because it's a little bit different on a gap down, kind of, not really, but let's go take a look here. So without further ado, so I've got two. It's going to be this one, and then we'll do SONO, or maybe one more. But the idea is, right, when I'm running a back test, it always has to assume a fill, right? So the way the back test is set up, it's assuming that this purple line, which is our entry on IVA, which is some ADR, so some foreign thing, is looking to buy on this pullback. And the idea, I've showed you this strategy many times, we're looking for something that had an amazing week last week, and then we are looking for it to pull back into an area. We have like 20 that we can watch every week, but we know that there's not going to be that many that actually trigger. And so we're just waiting for our price. And this is what the Discord alert bot does, right? This is why I send it out on the weekend, because I can send this out to users and say, you can set your own alerts. You can go through and see which ones you like, whatever it is that you want to do. And if it gets to these price, we take a trade. If it doesn't get to that price, we don't take a trade. So our life gets pretty simple after that. So this one, this IVA, is right at, as of the time of recording this, right at the price that would be the trigger price. And so 585 is the trigger, and we're at 586 right now. If we take a look at the pre-market, there's not a lot of action, right? This is just getting pulled down because the market's getting pulled back down. It's not a news thing. So how will I kind of treat this? Well, very simply, I like to, anything that gaps down below our trigger price, we just do a little bit of thinking and waiting on, me personally. Now, what does the back test do? Well, the back test would assume that you just get filled on the open. That's just the way the system will work, is that if the open is lower than the limit price we have out, how it would work if you just set the limit out there and you said, go live on market open, is you would get whatever that opening price is. You would just, you're trying to buy it at 586, say this thing opened at $4. Well, you'll just get it at that price. And that's what the backtest assumes as well, because that's kind of what's happened in the real world if you were completely automated with this. For me, I'm looking here at the SPY and I'm saying, well, we're gapping down a bit. It's not really too dramatic. I think it's better if you go in the ES because we had that holiday, but it has been kind of a slow grind lower. I just anchored this VWAP from Friday's close. Every time we hit it, we just seem to be bopping our heads against it. So it is a slow grind lower. There's some selling going off. I know the market's going to open and I'm going to get a bunch of alerts and it says, here's all the stuff that you could potentially take a trade on. For me, I'm not in that big of a rush. Now, what am I trading by waiting? And just waiting to see, does the market completely fall out of bed right off the open? What am I waiting in that area? Well, what I'm waiting for is, again, some confirmation that we're going to bottom. But what is my trade-off? And it's very important we always talk about this, because I don't know what's going to happen to the market on the open. Nobody does. And if anyone tells you they do, run away from that person because they're lying to you. So everything in trading is a trade. You have to think of me waiting for the open. There's three major scenarios that could happen. One is we open up and we just rip. There's a whole bunch of buy programs that get flipped on and say, oh, thank God, I can finally buy the market on a little bit of a dip. I was excited to do this, and we just rip from there. In that case, waiting is a bad idea, because it means likely that price I would get right off the open would be better than whatever I'm going to end up paying up at. The other two things, one is we gap down and we just kind of chop around all day, and we're maybe 1% up or 1% down from the opening price, but we just don't really move too much. In that case, probably okay to wait. Maybe I get a little better, maybe I get a little worse, but nothing too dramatic. The third option is that we open up and there's some sort of fear or panic in the market and we just collapse. And then later in the day, maybe we find a little bit of support and then I buy and I get a better price. So I am trading the chance of like missing out and getting a worse price on everything for the opportunity of kind of calm. That's the way I'm looking at it, is that I am trading being really right and making the most amount of money for being a little bit more calm. And Whether or not that's a right decision is entirely up to you. I would actually argue that, by the books kind of mathematically, probably wrong decision, right? Probably the right decision is just to completely 100% let the plan do what the plan's going to do and let the cards fall where they may. Because, I've tested this through 2008 and 2020 and the year 2000. And although they didn't do well, they didn't get completely blown up. So I'm not worried about anything like that. For me, I'm here, I'm sitting at my chair. I can wait and see, and if I give up a little profits, that's entirely up to me. So when you're trading things like this and you're trading your system, you have to figure that out as well. There might be some times where the system is just too wild for you to really kind of sit and chill out and actually trade. Like you might have to just avoid it entirely. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You have to be confident and you have to be okay with your trading. For me, the things it tells me to enter, I will likely enter today anyway. I'm not expecting like a bloodbath or anything crazy. And if it does, I kind of look at that as a good thing because I get to enter these things at lower prices than potentially. So the bad scenario for me would be an open and a rip, but I'm okay with that. I will be quick to, take a little bit of a worse price than potentially I would get. So let's just take a look at the ideas after that rant's done. So IVA, I like this one because it broke out. And I was just looking, there was some news of some sort of, fully funded until 2028. So good. They got money. It's good for them, I guess. But just a nice little pop up, and we're looking for a pullback kind of into this range. If we take a look at like an anchored VWAP, it lines up roughly with that area that we're looking to buy in. So there could be some support right in this zone right here. And that's great for me, right? The fact that we've got an anchored VWAP from wherever this pop was right here. We're trying to get in here. Another one, which is a mean reversion setup, which means that this thing is down quite a bit, is down from $20 to 15, and now we're gapping down to 15.80 or 15.51, so like 25 cents or so below the entry price. That's great because I really like this one because we have a pretty clear support here. So we're breaking that support. So off the open, you might actually have a bunch of stop orders getting filled, and that might push us a little bit lower. But then if we find buying after that area, again, could be a little bit of a nice entry price there. So those are the two that I'm going to give to you. Again, StatsEdge Pro members got a full list, always a big full list of a lot of things to potentially trade. I imagine a lot of these are going to trigger off the open. Both day trading and swing trading, we're going to get a huge kind of flurry things that we're going to have to take a look at. So I'm excited for the open to get started, and because I just had a little bit of a second, and I thought that, instead of waiting for one of these to trigger, I could come on and just tell you what we do in these gap days. I hope you see how kind of calm everything is. I'm not freaking out. I will follow the plan. Maybe I can squeak out a little bit of a better price on these things, but I'll follow the plan regardless, and the market will do whatever the market's going to do. Talk to you guys soon.